Herschel and Shimon are two brothers, and they live in a town where they're the richest people in the city, but they are misers, and they are bullies, and they are narcissists. And then one day, Herschel ups and dies, and his brother Shimon comes to the rabbi and says, I want you to give a beautiful eulogy about my brother. And the rabbi says, but your brother didn't do anything for anyone but himself. And Shimon says, this one time, I will give my first ever charitable contribution. I will build an entire synagogue to the whole community if you just call my brother at his eulogy a mensch. So the rabbi gets up to give the eulogy, and he says, Herschel was a miser. Herschel focused on no one but his own needs and his own interests. Herschel was dishonest in business. But compared to his brother Shimon, he was a mensch. That was like a delayed reaction from that side of the room. My friends, if you would have told me when I was just a boy that at the threshold of my 50th birthday, Israel would be one day on Yom HaShoah compared to the Nazis, the Gestapo, and the SS, I would have been incredulous. If you would have told me that a deputy chief of staff of the IDF, the bravest Jewish heroes in the world today, would have given a speech just last night at a Holocaust remembrance dedication, insinuating that Israel could somehow be like the Germans of the 1930s, I would never have believed it. But you see, when Joseph Goebbels said that if you repeat a lie that is big enough and repeat it often enough, the world will believe it, he forgot to add that even the victims will believe it. If you subject a nation to 2,000 years of hatred, if you expel them, if you pogrom against them, if you force them to be baptized in inquisitions, if you crusade against them, and ultimately if you inflict a Holocaust against them, one day they will look in the mirror and they will begin to say, there must be something wrong with us. But I am here to say tonight, on the day that we commemorate the 6 million martyrs of the Jewish people, the bravest amongst us, those who died with the defiance of their identity, given no choice but to die meekly or to die proudly, chose to die with the words of the Shema Yisrael on their lips, proclaiming their eternal attachment to the Rock of Israel. I am here to tell you tonight that we have stolen no man's land. We have killed no one's God. We have occupied no one's territory. We have poisoned no one's wells. We have drunk the blood of no one's children. We are a righteous and dignified people, and Israel is the majestic lone democracy in that ocean of tyranny that we call the Middle East. We put on this dinner tonight just so that we, on the day that we remember the 6 million, could be in the company of heroes. I wanted to sit with the foremost Jewish philanthropists of our time, a couple whose very name is synonymous with Jewish excellence, Jewish generosity, Jewish programming, Jewish buildings, Jewish activism, and the fight for the state of Israel, Sheldon and Miriam Adelson. I wanted to sit with Michael Steinhardt, who dreamed a dream of bringing 500,000 young Jews to experience the Jewish state. I wanted to sit with my friend Bret Stephens, who week after week pummels Israel's enemies with a sledgehammer. I wanted to sit with the greatest living Jewish personality of our time, the one and only face of the greatest crime in human history, Elie Wiesel, who was represented this evening by his wife Marion, who has translated most of his books, his life partner in all that he has done, and their greatest achievement, not night and not dawn and not day and not the town beyond the wall, but Elisha Wiesel, their son, who is my dear friend and who embodies everything that a survivor's child should, which is to live and love the Jewish people. So 3 days ago, in anticipation of tonight's commemoration, I was at Yad Vashem in Jerusalem because my family was in Israel visiting our son Mendy, who's a brave IDF combat soldier. Okay, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because I dressed up just like that on Purim. We're very proud of our son, and we ask that God keep him safe and protect him and his comrades in arms at all times so that they can keep the Jewish people safe. Thank God he looks like his mother, except for the beard. I come in peace. Boy, am I going to get it tonight. I was walking in Yad Vashem right past the plaque for Sheldon and Miri, who are the largest sponsors of Yad Vashem in the entire world. I took a picture and I quickly sent it to them, and then I walked in and I saw something that startled me to my core. Death camp. Sobibor. Jews murdered, 250,000. Number of SS guards, 20. Treblinka. Number of Jews murdered, 750,000. SS guards guarding the camp, 15. Chelmno, number of Jews murdered, 334,000. Number of SS guards guarding the camp, 25. And I asked myself, how is it that we could have been slaughtered by such a small group of people? And the traditional answer was to denigrate the victims of the Holocaust. It was to say that they were like sheep to the slaughter, that Jews walked into gas chambers. It was an early myth by some at the beginning of the state of Israel that they were fighters while the European Jews could not muster the courage to resist and fight back. But the truth is, my friends, that we all operated under an ideology which Israel has made outdated. And the ideology is that the highest form of living is to die for a noble cause. It's to give your life for something you believe in. And I am here to say tonight, enough Jews have died. We will not die for our Jewishness. We will not die for our identity. As I said to my son when I placed my hands on his head and blessed him as he left 3 nights ago, I said, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he shine his light toward you, and may he be gracious to you. And may he grant you peace. And Mendy, you will never, God forbid, die for a cause. You will not even live for a cause. You will fight for a cause. Let others believe that the Jewish people are a cognitive people. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. But I am a Yisrael. I fight, therefore I am. I am well aware that the Jewish people gave the world the concept of peace. I am well aware of the prayer that I recite thrice daily. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, that he who puts peace among the celestial hosts, may he grant that same peace among each and every one of us. But I also remember the words of King Solomon, that there is for everything a time under the sun. There's a time to love, and there's a time to hate. There's a time for peace, and there's a time for war. There will be no peace if Jewish life continues to be cheap and the Palestinian Authority incites the murder and the stabbing of pregnant women on the streets of Jerusalem. There will be no peace if the mullahs of Iran take gay men and hang them from cranes in town squares. I have a gay brother sitting in this room. I grew up with him. He is a finer man than me, and he's a better Jew than me. And the idea that he lacks the spark of God, something that Israel fights for every single day, which is why we were so honored to bring Amir Ohana, who has a security background in the Shin Bet, fought for Israel, wants to see communities built, and Yehuda and Shomron, the ancient Jewish biblical lands that are mentioned countless times in the Torah. The idea that the world would look askance as a gay man or woman's legs swing back and forth, murdered for having done nothing to anyone else, is, my friends, an abomination. And Israel is a country where every human being is free, where every human being has that special spark of the divine and is God's child. There will be no peace so long as women are slaughtered for falling in love with the man of their choice by their own brothers, their uncles, or their cousins. And you're about to see something spectacular and startling. An Islamic immigrant family from Afghanistan, who our organization helped to save because of the extraordinary courage of the woman in question who ran a women's shelter in Bamyan in Afghanistan, with the main person pushing the effort to save her life being the world's foremost Jewish philanthropist, the other half of the world's foremost Jewish philanthropist, Dr. Miriam Adelson, who called day in and day out after reading her story in the New York Times to provide the funding, the connections, and the simple determination to save her life. There will be no peace until the human person is recognized as being of infinite dignity. Just 73 years ago, on the Seder night, which we just celebrated, April 19th, 1943, a man who remains mysterious to us till this day collected his ragtag group of fighters. And they had just assorted Molotov cocktails. They had a few broken pistols with just a few bullets. And he preached to them and he said, tonight, Seder, there is only slavery. There is nothing but servitude. Tomorrow you will face the might of the strongest army in all of Europe. And you will not overcome. And you will not prevail. And you will not win. We are headed to certain death. But we will fight them so that we are granted the one thing that our Jewishness promises us. The right to choose the men we will be and the right to choose how we will die. We will not die as servants and slaves. We will die as free men. His name, the father of modern Jewish resistance, Mordechai Anerlevich. Rank, commander. Field of battle, the Warsaw Ghetto. Come, my friends, join with me. Join with me in becoming Israel warriors. Let us fight for what we believe in. 2 miles from this hall, a week ago, in a university with 6,000 Jewish undergraduates, the BDS movement passed 2 resolutions for the economic destruction of the state of Israel. And BDS doesn't give a damn about an occupation, or they wouldn't be using iPhones because China has been occupying Tibet since 1951. And BDS doesn't care about Arab rights because they would be protesting Hezbollah, Iran, and Assad, who have killed 250,000 innocent Arabs. And BDS doesn't give a damn about Palestinian rights, so they'd be protesting Hamas, which executes, summary executions, anyone who protests their regime. BDS is pure Jew hatred, plain and simple. It is dedicated to the destruction of the Jewish people. Do you know at NYU there are 6,000 Jewish undergraduates? Do you know that the students who passed this never numbered more than 100? This is the reverse of the Maccabees. We have to be Maccabees. They are the tiny minority. And do you know why it happened? Because we refuse to fight. And that's why I say to you tonight, my friends, in the presence of Marion, in the presence of Alicia, and I wish that Eli would be here, but his health didn't necessarily allow it. And Marion and Alicia, you know that your father is my hero and has been since I was a little boy. And one of the great honors of my life is that we had him at 3 of our last dinners, countless lectures at Oxford University. When some said that the Holocaust happened because we Jews didn't keep Shabbat, it happened because we changed our names to Germanic-sounding surnames. It happened because we abandoned God, so he abandoned us. Eli Wiesel raised his fist to the heavens and said, Hashofet kol haaretz layaseh mishpat, shall the judge of the whole earth not practice justice? Like Moses before him, he said, B'cheni na misifracha asher kasafta, remove my name from your Torah, I cannot be part of a religion. that just condemns people to death. 1.5 million innocent children, 6 million innocent souls. There was no reason they should die. There was no good that came of it. We did not have to purchase Israel at the blood of 6 million. We could have had a Jewish state without so many dying. I will never dignify this horrible day where we remember the 6 million, but I will fight so that Jewish life will have value. And I want everyone to know, and we give them a statement of warning, that if you defame and if you character assassinate the Jewish people, if you dare portray us as guilty of perpetrating a genocide instead of being its victims, then just know we will fight back. We do not believe in a fraudulent peace. We are warriors for Israel and the Jewish people. And so I conclude, ladies and gentlemen. So I conclude with a character that Elie Wiesel invented in the town beyond the wall named Verity. And he got up and he gave his heretical speech. And he told the synagogue, each of you has God in his power. For each of you is capable of achieving a thing of which God is incapable. Man will conquer heaven, earth, sickness, and death, if he will only raise the walls that imprison the will. And I who speak to you today announce solemnly and convincingly my decision to deny death, to repel it, to ridicule it. He who stands before you shall never die. Lo yamos ki yachye. This nation shall never die. Israel will never be harmed. Israel's citizens will forever be safe. The IDF will continue to be courageous. Let us stand with the Jewish state, ladies and gentlemen. Let us not be like those who seek entry into heaven, but let us, through peace and through efforts and through fighting for what we believe in, rather create heaven here on earth.